Now let's head to business. At the IMF Spring Meetings, the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Olayemi Cardoso addressed concerns about declining external reserves, assuring citizens that the decrease is not due to defending the Naira currency, but rather standard financial obligations like debt repayments. Joining me for more on this is Tajudeen Ibrahim, Head Research and Strategy, Chapel Hill, Denham. Hello, Tajudeen. Thank you so much for joining me at this time.
Hello, thank you for having me on your show tonight.
All right. So did you also have concerns about the reserves before the governor made these clarifications?
So I think the best way to look at the reserves is to recognize where we were as at the end of last year. As at the end of last year, the reserves were around $33, billion dollars, and as we speak, it is around $32 billion dollars plus, and the net sort of decrease that we could see from that standpoint is around $500 million dollars. The accretion to the reserves that took it to around $34 billion dollars level, was largely because of the Afrexim, loan that we got. And one thing that I believe we also have to recognize as Nigerians, as market operators, is the fact that the reserves are there to serve, the purposes of, empowering the central bank to supply to the market. And I think if we consider it for that, we comfortably can conclude that, supporting the currency is a lot more beneficial than allowing it to devalue too significantly, because the impact of that would be a lot more negative on the economy. Okay. So I think in those, from those perspectives, the CBN is on track in terms of what they should be doing around currency management.
All right, now talking about, the value being significant, what do you make of his statement? Didn't sound to me like, he was categorically saying that the CBN isn't defending the Naira. It was more like a play of words.
So it is not so much of a play of words, but it is more to my mind around, just supplying to the market. Let us take, a few steps back, like, 2019, for instance, when we had relative stability in the exchange rate. At that point in time, the average volume traded on a daily basis at the official market was well around, $270 million, per day. So that is what I think has returned to the market, which is an improvement in liquidity. And as at the time that we had that improvement in liquidity in 2019, the CBN was responsible for close to 30% of the inflow into the official market. As I speak, on a year-to-date basis, the CBN has supplied just a little above, $500 million to the, NAFEM window, which is what we consider the official market. And they have also bought, around $100 million, from the market. So which means the net inflow of the CBN to the market is around $400 million on a year-to-date basis. So it is not so much of, defending the currency. It is more of, playing its role in terms of underpinning supply to the market, because we also have other players in the market that supply to the market. We have the FPIs, the foreign portfolio investors. We have the foreign direct investors supplying to the market. We have the exporters also supplying to the market. And we have individuals, as well, supplying to the, official, foreign exchange market. So the CBN is just one of the players that also supplies to the foreign currency market. And And I think, the CBN is just supplying to ensure that, it is not completely absent, from the market. I think that is what we are seeing.
All right, now, Tajudeen, he
And,
also...
and just before I drop on that,
Okay.
we should also bear in mind that it will be contradictory, because the CBN has come out to say that we want a market that is, that is operating on a willing buyer, willing seller basis. And I believe that is what is operating in the market. Higher interest rate environment has emboldened the foreign investors to bring in their money. So we are seeing remarkable increase in foreign portfolio investment inflows into the FX markets. That is what we see that is underpinning the FX reserves. And when you have the reserves to supply to the market, it is appropriate for the CBN to do so, just to ensure that it is also participating in the market.
All right, Tajudeen. Now, the CBN governor also talked about, having to intervene in the market when necessary, and he gave the example of BDCs, Bureau de Change. Now, but at what point will defending the Naira become totally undesirable? And I'm talking about this economically.
So economically speaking, when we have the reserves that is depleted in a way too significantly, when we talk about the reserves at around, maybe $20 billion level, we may begin to think that, the defense of the currency at that point, will be economically wrong. And, there will be need for the currency to be allowed to find its value. But I reckon that what the CBN has done this time is, slightly different. Different in the sense that it is not a direct defense of the currency. It is more of providing an enabling environment for the currency to find its value, but at the same time supplying to the market in a manner that indicates that it is not the only supplier. I mean, the CBN in this case is not the only supplier to that market. What has been done before now is to ensure that the net open position of banks is at zero level, which means banks had to sell to the market at that point in time. When the banks were selling, it would be accretive to the FX reserves. At the same time, we have seen around 600 basis point increase in our policy rate. That has elevated yields on the treasury bills and also yields on bonds to historically high levels. That has also sort of enticed the foreign investors to bring in their money to invest in those securities. That has also underpinned the FX reserves. We have seen a significant clearance of FX backlog that we had in the country. So clearing over $4 billion or thereabout in the backlog is another area that we should look at. So it is not so much of defense. It is more of meeting the obligations that the CBN has to meet. And I think this time, with elevated interest rates, we are still going to see more inflows from the foreign portfolio investors.
Due to time constraints, we have to stop you there. But thank you so much for speaking to us on this.
Thank you.